Any other question?
The pictures at Cave Spring High, are out there. Is there a concentration level that's acceptable for general population? I know you're more susceptible depending on your genetics.
Yeah.
But is there a set standard?
Well, okay, so I look at people's mold tests, because I'm learning this as far as like, what is the test and what are my symptoms? And a lot of the tests come back normal because they compare it to the outside air. I look at the spore counts and because I see people's labs and they're like on fire, with their labs, and I know they're being exposed. And if we can eliminate one space, or if they're a stay-at-home mom. So 200 is kind of the spore count that anything over 200, I find people reacting to. If they've got this sensitivity, to begin with. Yeah, and that's not in the abnormal range, but that's kind of what I've observed, where people are reacting, and that's supposed to be normal. Yeah.
How do you know if your house is at that level or not?
Well, you have to, there's different types of testing. There's ERMI testing, which is the history of the space. It's a floor test. It's either vacuuming or wiping the floor.
Okay.
Sending that into a company called Mycometrics. And then they suck out about 10 different molds, mold species. You plug that into a calculator online, and then you get a number, and anything less than, the numbers vary. I'm still not sure which number is safe. 6 or below, 2 or below, 11 or below. I've heard all three of those numbers. But it's not safe to put a previously reactive person back into that space and not know that they're not going to react again. So a lot of people say that, a lot of the people in the business say that's a terrible test. You don't know if it's in the air. You don't know, it's like the history. It's not active now. They could be dead. Yeah, that's true. Then there's air testing, where they suck, the air in different rooms for 5 minutes through a little filter. They send the filter in, and then they suck out the little mold, species, and then they give you a spore count. There's holes with that. There's holes with tape tests. So I'm not sure any of the testing is the best or adequate.
You said that they react to 200 plus?
That's been my observation. I have not read that anywhere in anybody else's literature.
So like if Cave Spring is at 560 in one room, 520 in another, 840 in another, 360 in another, 400 in another. I mean, this is...
I find people reacting to those numbers. Yeah, I find people reacting to those numbers, and I tell them when I have their labs and I know they're flaming hot.
It doesn't matter what kind of mold.
Go fix your house.
Just spores.
Doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Because I'm kind of doing it the backward. All right, they come in sick, I test them, they're positive.
Right.
Now go look at your house.
Yeah.
And so many of these tests come back normal.
This was Cave Springs.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say anybody who's sensitized, who have these genetics, could be reacting to those.
Got it.
I'm going to be tarred and feathered tomorrow, I can tell.
No, thank you.
How long would it take somebody that was sensitive to those numbers, 500, 600, to start showing symptoms?
That's a really tough question. Okay.
It kind of depends on
It totally, okay, your genetics, your nutrition, your exercise, your attitude, all the other toxins. This is kind of like we have a toxic tank. And we have two drains. We have the lower, gastric, drain, and then we have something called our methylation cycles, which are getting our fat-soluble waste into a water-soluble form. That's kind of like the little drain, but it's happening in every cell of our body. If that's clogged, and I test that with a homocysteine, and the person's sick, I know they're going to be harder to get better because their detoxification pathways are restricted. So everybody is so unique. To answer your question, I see very commonly that someone will move into a house that's moldy and they won't react, they won't start getting sick till like 6 or 8 months later. If they are a fresh case, if they've already been sensitized, they can react right away. Yeah, but it takes a while. You don't react immediately unless your toxic tank is already full, and then you go over the top and have symptoms immediately.
So can I ask one more question? The painting, the cleaning with bleach.
Bleach does not kill it.
Right.
Nothing
So
kills
really,
it.
Like, what they're doing is like
It's a Band-Aid. It's going to grow back.
Bleach can make it worse.
grow.
Yeah.
Look on the website, we can provide you some information, but basically it can combine and make it worse. Is what I understand.
Remediation is really the only way.
Honestly, that's expensive.
Oh, yeah.
I am not here to promote other people's businesses. I just find what works, and I send my people that direction. So I have no contact with this company. But I knew the Green Home Oceanic was coming on the market because I have a patient who almost bought the company in January before they actually came and franchised. And he told me about this company because he researched everything about it. And he and his family had to move to Colorado to get away from mold. That's how bad they were. Yeah. And they're still reacting. You know, when they go to the vet's office, they have a meltdown. Yeah, so I've seen petri dish experiments of everything, you know, the conchromia, the bleach, all the other things that purport that they're killing mold. The only one that didn't grow back was the oceanic, you know, over a period of time. So
that's not just remediation.
if they just sprayed the space with the oceanic product, that would be probably the best thing they can do.
Right.
And that's the cheapest thing they can do.
What about like curtains and?
That all has to be washed, or it gets to be exposed to the enzyme that the oceanic
I got a
is.
picture from the students today at Cape Spring High School of the auditorium curtains and the mold.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not totally aware of what they're doing to remediate that building.
Students are even aware now. I mean,
Yeah, a little bit of awareness goes a long way. So you guys have done, you know, good job over the summer.
pretty random, I don't even know these kids.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a problem. The Forest, Virginia, 10 years ago, they had to destroy a school because of the same problem. You know, it becomes too expensive to fix at some point. That is, you know, I think the enzyme spray is the slickest, least expensive solution going. You have to,
Buy it online. I mean, it's better to have knowledgeable people come in and do it, but the solution's available.
yeah.
So I am a walking mold patient, sick for a very long time, probably 8 but 10 years maybe.
Yeah.
And on the way to recovering, but 8 misdiagnosis.
Oh, yeah.
Almost had a double knee replacement because my joint pain was my biggest symptom. I never had sinus. That's the only thing on your whole list that I never had. Not
Yeah.
everything.
You
else-
guys exist. I know.
Everything
Yeah.
else I had.
Yeah.
And my daughter, she's only spent a few weeks in and out of the hospital because would be a upcoming freshman. She started getting joint issues. And before any awareness was brought about, I was aware something is going on.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the same joint. It was her knee, then it was her elbow, then it was the hip. So I'm aware now, but it
Red
is
flag.
really scary, the amount of time, money,
Oh.
physicians I've seen.
Yeah.
And she jokes about the divorces she's seen in her practice. The person closest to you, i.e. your husband, they don't understand because they're not sick.
Right.
And if it's mold in your home, then why isn't it affecting everyone? Because it doesn't.
Right.
That's the biggest fact that needs to be known for these children.
Right.
It isn't going to affect all of them.
76% of
1 in
people.
4
You'll be
that walk
fine.
in that building are going to get sick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fact.
Yeah.
And that aligned with our lack of information, I think, of mold and mycotoxins and
And our brick walls that we're hitting with this issue.
And until you are sick from it, I was a pharmaceutical rep. My father has worked for Curlian for 65 years. I've grown up in the medical community. You don't think it's real. You know that you're not supposed to inhale it, but you have no idea how serious it is until it happens to you, and thankfully it has for a reason.
Yeah.
So I can help others because that's the only
Yeah, it's an invisible disease. I mean, that's what makes it so hard to wrap your mind around it.
And it affected me psychologically, neurologically. I've seen every doctor there could, I mean, it is, and
Until you get in front of the right one.
well, that's the thing, they're not, they are educated, they are smart, they aren't being educated properly.
They're not staying. We're not. These lectures are not happening in our CME that we have to
How
attend.
many functional medicine doctors do we have in this town? 2?
3.
3. That is crazy. And insurance doesn't cover to treat people like me because, is that correct?
Yeah.
So the $20,000 I've spent getting well, and I was sick, and it's not in my head.
No.
And we have children that are getting sick, and families paying money and having surgeries that are unnecessary.
Has it been linked to cancer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Because of the DNA alteration.
How many children in Case high school diagnosed with cancer in the past few years, and 2 of them are gone now.
Rare cancers, unexplained,
Yeah. Right.
all through.
My son was exposed to Stachybotrys, and he went to Williambury High School, and I mean, he had the 4.350 HLA marker. And then, I mean, we went to a physician in New York, and he also had the MTHFR.
Right. That's the methylation deficit. Yeah.
So
Drain is clogged.
he was very sensitive to it, and he had seizure-like symptoms, twitches and tremors. And
Yeah.
I mean, at one point it got to where he reacted to yeast in a bakery. He was working at a donut shop. He had to stop working there because the yeast was setting off his symptoms.
Yeah.
And it was a brand new building.
Ah.
He had the inflamed
Yeah.
sinuses you were talking about. He did pass the BCS test.
He can.
For some
It's
reason,
not going to
but
catch
he's
everybody. Yeah.
very sensitive to it.
Yeah.
Did you address that, about what you're saying right there? Because that's huge. It's being, every time you near it again, it's like 10 times as worse.
Well,
As you did, I
he's
missed it.
gotten to where, I mean, our house is not, okay, I can't say it's 100% mold-free because mold grows everywhere, but we
Right.
make an effort to, Clorox, bath it, and
No.
that stuff.
Can I link on to what you're saying? Can I ask her a question, link on to what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, at one point, he would twitch when he went into a moldy building, but he doesn't do that now because
Wow.
he's recovered a lot.
Why is that? Why do you have such a heightened reaction?
If your toxic tank is full and you walk into more exposure, you're going to have symptoms immediately.
Okay.
You're going to get sicker
Is
quicker.
that the rest of your life?
Well, you've got to detox to have a little bit more play. So if you do get re-exposed, you're not going to have immediate symptoms and meltdown.
Okay.
I have a lot of patients who can't go into certain buildings around town because they immediately start to react. Their faces flush, their brain disconnects, and they have to just turn around and get right out. And then they have to do some more detoxing. So a lot of them have to be detoxing all the time, because their world gets very small. This family that I referenced who moved to Colorado, they have everything come to the house. They have their hairstylist come to the house, their massage therapist, they have their food delivered. She had a meltdown taking the dog who got sick to the vet. And it's like twitching and seizures and hospitalization and all the doctors running around like chickens because nobody gets it. Yeah.
Months and months to get
Yeah.
better and live normal.
And then you walk into somebody's house and you get nailed. Your world gets really small.
And if you do that, if you walk, like let's say you go to a hotel, you're
Oh, yeah.
vacationing, you fly across country,
Yeah.
you stay in a brand new hotel, it's all beautiful, and the AC. system
Exactly.
is all screwed.
Yeah.
So if you bring cholestyramine with you or one of these other
No.
products, can you be taking that as like a defense mechanism for your body, even like just for a week? while
Yes,
vacationing?
but write this down, betterair.com. This is a company who has devised machines and spritzers for the hotel room of a bifidobacterium species that takes over and eats everything else in the interior environment, the viruses, the dander, the bacteria, the molds, chews it up and starts propagating itself through the space. So it's a probiotic for your house or for your apartment or your hotel room or your seat on the airplane. So they have little spritzers that you can take on vacation along with your cholestyramine or other binders and just assume you're going to get nailed. Especially, I have so many people who, go to Florida in the winter and they come back sick as a dog and spend 6 months getting better again. It was a great week.
You can only buy that online?
Yeah, it's online. I would go to that website. It's fascinating. It's like the idea of generating a good bacteria. It's one of our good bacteria in our gut, so it's really healthy for us to breathe. And a lot of the people who didn't get better doing our regular thing, we put these in their homes, and that was it. Now they're not coughing, they're not snotting, they're not melting down. So that cleans up the rest of it. BetterAir.com.
Doesn't Andy offer these?
Yeah.
We got samples. He came and spoke.
You can get them through Green Home, or you can go straight to the website. And I would go. The website is very educational because it's kind of like probiotic generator for my house. It's hard to wrap your mind around at first, but then when you get it, it's brilliant. Yes, you want to take very, very good, high quality probiotics, spore forming probiotics. Spore forming is the newest thing. Okay, they're like seeds for probiotics. They get past the gastric acid. And then they flower in your small intestine because we're not sure how many are surviving the gastric acid.
And you can purchase those locally in some?
I don't know. Just any spore forming probiotic.
I think that Earth Bear does, are you talking about, I'm pretty sure Earth Bear has them, I think.
I don't get out much.
I don't know. Are some of them in the refrigerator?
No, these don't need to be refrigerated. No, but that's the newest technology in getting 100% live bacteria where we need it in the small intestine.
Have you found in your patient population?
There is a probiotic yogurt, but that's not strong enough.
Yeah, no, all yogurts have to be pasteurized, so they're dead.
Yeah.
They get killed.
Once they get to you,
They're dead.
Have you found the patients who do have a genetic predisposition, are they sensitive to chemicals, perfumes as a whole, or not necessarily?
Not everybody, but that's a piece of it because usually the people who are reacting in the upper airways tend to also get chemically sensitized. So detergents, air fresheners, perfumes, it's like another mold experience for them. Yeah. And you get sensitized to everything outside. So how everybody says, oh, you moved to the Roanoke Valley and everybody gets allergies? I'm wondering if their house doesn't have mold and then they become sensitized to the allergens that are here. I don't know if it's really the valley itself. It might be the houses in the valley. It's just another thought. Okay, back there. We have got one from you yet?
So if you're on the front end of thinking that this may be an issue for your health, do you recommend diagnosing the physical body first before trying to pick apart the environment? I mean, this isn't a situation like Cave Spring where it's evident.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're local?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you said that most insurance companies do not cover this kind of diagnoses, or?
I can't take insurance because I see Lyme patients, and doctors are taken out by the forces that be who see Lyme patients. And so I got to mold through Lyme. So I am, cash up front. You can bill your insurance. But insurance companies will fake a patient complaint and come in if you contract with them. And this is how 3 doctors here in Virginia have had this experience, and it happens all over the country. They will fake a patient complaint, come in, audit your practice, find a note not signed or a T not crossed or something very minor. They will trump you up on charges of fraud, and they will basically try to take your medical license from you. Yeah, so.
That happened to my friend's Lyme doctor in North Carolina.
Yeah, Gemsek, Dr. Gemsek.
Why does the Lyme preclude you from?
That's a really good question. It's the question we've all been answering. I don't know. You can't take insurance. And it's not that anybody's getting rich. It's really not. There's so much time that we have to spend with each patient.
So what does a diagnosis run roughly? I mean, I know you can't, but if you're thinking that you are susceptible.
Yeah, the labs are covered by your insurance. That's the heavy cost, or the labs. I've had some people caught in between insurances, and I did the whole Lyme lab and mold thing. It's $4,200, and the guys wanted to, shoot me, but they thought they were covered. They weren't. They finally worked it out with the lab. But I charge $375 for the new patient, and I spend an hour to an hour and a half sorting through all this. And then my follow-ups are $200, and it's a half hour, but usually go over, as everybody knows. They're waiting in my waiting room. So my charges aren't expensive. I'm not the expense. And it's the other stuff is not necessarily pharmaceutical, so it doesn't go through your insurance. It's supplements and binders and probiotics and all these other things from non-traditional medicine that we have to get to restore the body and bring it back to health.
So can your offices give, I know everything's always a battle with insurance, but with those labs, can you give codes?
Oh yeah, we give you the face sheet, all that's all, yeah, we do that.
So that we
Yeah.
can check with insurance prior to
Yeah.
transfer, okay.
Yeah, unless you have an HMO and your labs have to go through your gatekeeper, they are not going to be covered. But anybody with a PPO, the labs will be covered. Even Medicare, we weren't sure that was going to happen, but we have not had anybody come back wanting to, rip our heads off. So, it's okay.
So in your experience, most of the major insurance providers are covering the
Yeah.
lab work, it's just.
Yeah, and my charges are a third of what like Dr. Jemsek charges. So no one's getting rich. It's just we have to cover our expenses.
Well, and your charges would be tax deductible also if you keep records of medical payments.
And under if you have a health savings account, and all the supplements that can go under your health savings account.
I charge $100 to groom a standard poodle.
Okay, I'm gonna go home and change my job. No, I know. I mean, it's expensive, and a lot of people can't afford me. But I try to be as reasonable as possible, and I'm taking my dog to her next.
They're cheaper than going to 8 to 10 doctors.
Right.
And hospital stays and multiple prescriptions.
Oh yeah.
Even if you have insurance, you're paying co-pays.
We went to the wrong doctors, we got, excessive tests, we had neurological tests, and we got the runaround, and, it gets expensive.
It gets
Even
really
with
expensive very
insurance,
fast.
There's a lot that wasn't covered, and it's actually more cost effective to go to
Yes,
somebody
it's
that
much
deals
cheaper to get in front of the right
with
doctor.
mold, has experience with it, has a clue, and doesn't call you crazy and
And when you
stuff like that.
Because they are too.
When you go to all these doctors, let's say I have a GP, a general physician, and I have not told her that I have these because I'm afraid she'll drop me or think I'm insane because they just don't understand. And is that the right tact, or should I just be honest and say, look, she looks at my red blood count.
I know, CBCs and Chem 20s.
And they don't even respond to it. It's like these crazy numbers, and I take it home and look at it, and think, why didn't she say something about
That could be mine, actually. Sorry.
So should we be telling them our regular?
It depends on who it is.
Okay.
It really depends on who it is. I could tell you stories. I know what you're saying, because a lot of the patients who tell their doctors they're seeing me, and I have a track record now of 7 years in this community, and their faces crinkle and their body changes, and sometimes they run for the door because I'm the wacko. I'm the one doing something a little bit different, and if you're seeing me, I've even had a patient say, the doctor called and yelled at me because I fixed their patient's thyroid by adding cortisol, which is what you're supposed to do. And she called and yelled at me and said she was going to send me to the medical board for malpractice, that I was harming her patient. And so she says, you are never going to see any of my patients again. And I'm like, nobody sends me patients. They all come on their own. And so if I see that doctor, I'm like, I can't see you. And I make a joke of it, and they're like, okay, I'm going to change my doctor then. Because we're just being processed in medicine right now. I mean, nobody has time. Nobody's paying attention. The doctors are stressed out. They don't have time to go home and read all the darn books and go sit at the foot of other providers who are doing something that I can learn from. This has all been a self-study process for me. I didn't go through integrative medicine. I've learned all that on my own through the process. But I'm not boarded in integrative medicine, but that's where I find myself now because that's still asking the question, why? Why is the body doing this? What's the underlying cause?
If you're a Carillion physician, you're only allowed to talk about one disease state or one symptom with a patient. That's a fact. For 2 minutes, they have a time limit.
That's why they're so bad.
Yeah, no, they have to generate.
If your right knee hurts and your left knee hurts, you can't talk about the left.
No,
knee.
it's right.
They're exactly the same. That is not, I'm not joking.
No, she is not joking. And then okay.
And they would not x-ray.
It's going to get worse.
Because they had to be separate appointments.
Okay, it's going to get worse because Medicare just came out with their new fee schedule. They're decreasing the rate to doctors, and I'm looking at this thing going, okay, now they're going to spend 1.5 minutes with patients because they have to in order to maintain the beast.
And just pay when we go, we'll end up with more money. Right.
Yeah.
But it,
How many classes on mold does a physician take during their training?
Zero.
Zero? I thought it was one.
One was
Okay,
nutrition.
zero.
Yeah, one might be nutrition. Yeah, no one's talking about
Is there
this.
anything a doctor can label with mold?
What do you mean label?
Is there rhino something? I know.
Oh no, there's mold codes. No, there's true mold. Oh yeah, 2771.
Right?
Yes, they will. But you got to know you have mold. We're done.
When you say they, who's paying for it?
Insurance companies will reimburse for mold codes. That's not the problem. Is that the doctors don't know what's in their face. They're not seeing the whole picture because they're seeing a right knee. They're seeing a left
it
elbow.
may change because of awareness and people like Lori Bowling who are standing up to this and making people aware and having meetings like this. That's the only way it's going to change. And
Yeah.
then people run to Congress.
Well, and you know, we need to change the healthcare in this country. We really do. We need to get the middle players out of that. That's where all the money's going. It's not going to doctors, and it's, you know, it's not. It's you guys are. We're all paying more and getting less. And who has the biggest? And who has the biggest buildings in towns? Insurance companies. That's where the money's going. Pharmaceutical, insurance, yeah. Banks. Any other questions pertinent to this? Not the current.
I know you're on the medical side of things. But
Yeah.
as far as, again, one of Cape Spring, so OSHA gives you MSDS floats and all that stuff. Why isn't, I mean, even as a teacher, if the concentrations of whatever it is there, why isn't this something being regulated by OSHA?
OSHA won't help us, the health department won't help us, the EPA wouldn't help me. I've talked to everybody.
I think what you said,
I
that's,
did
you
the
hit on it
same
right
thing.
there.
At Williamsburg, I went to the same agencies, the health department, EPA, DEQ, Department of Education, and of course Roanoke County doesn't have to do anything.
So what is that?
I got stonewalled by all the different agencies, and I got.
They don't want to touch it.
Because it's monitored?
I think so.
The health department, if you
Good
go
old
on their
boys club.
website, they claim that mold will cause sniffles and sneezes. I mean, I got a list of over 300 studies of all the other things that you do. Because a few years ago, I wrote the health commissioner a letter and complaint, and the response I got was one phone call, and they sent a little pamphlet to Williamsburg and said, well, this is a little voluntary mold remediation guide for you.
I think that.
was it. That's all we did. It's ridiculous.
The health department was at Case
And
Spring
I
High
read the
School,
letter to the health commissioner.
April 18th, and we passed. You've seen the pictures of the
Would you-
kitchen, right? Yeah. We passed with flying colors April 18th
Yes.
of 2018.
You know, what if you guys took your kids out of school? That's going to hit them in the pocketbook.
I won't
Yeah.
pay for it. I want to send my kids to Hidden Valley.
No, they do homebound. The schools have to pay for homebound education. That's what my kids have had to do when we did have to take them out of school.
That's what my son did.
Yeah, homebound is going to cost them probably more, and they're not going to, they're not going to get the attendance, every morning.
With awareness, these people coming in and testing the school aren't even aware. And with awareness, hopefully we'll get somewhere because How can you consciously send your kids
It's
into
important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Guys, this is a huge systems issue, not Roanoke, Virginia.
Right.
We can make a difference in Roanoke, Virginia for the system. And I say that to say this, there are no governing bodies, there are no statutes, there's no federal laws, there are very few state laws, and until people yell, scream, and kick loud enough, there's not gonna be. You know, there's not gonna be. Would you agree with that? So, you know, we're trying to hold people, you know, we'd like to hold each other accountable, however, there's no accountability measures in it. There's no state laws. There's no.
So common sense and compassion would be enough.
Well, you would think, but.
No, not when it hits here.
Right. That, you know, the awareness of what you guys are doing right now, bringing this to the table, you know, allowing us to serve you by bringing in professionals like Dr. Talty and you know, many other of your Roanoke's got some, they're the bomb. They got some great professionals. So, you know, that, y'all can be as strong as you want to be. This is an issue, but it's huge. And, you know, you can't.
In the right manner.
Yeah, and you can't, with this knowledge, you can't, I couldn't send my kid back in there, could you?
No,
I
not if they're
couldn't.
sick. I mean, if they're one of the sickies, that's not where they need to be.
Right.
They can't get better.
But if you don't have, if you're in that 76%, does it end up, I mean, over the longevity of exposure to it, I mean, if you just don't have that genetic
You're fine.
predisposition, you're fine.
Your immune system's doing what it's supposed to by just tagging them and getting rid of them. So you're fine.
Could it be something that would affect them unknowingly, like 15 years from now?
I don't know that for a fact, but I would say no. Because if you're not immediately reacting, you know, unless something happens with your immune system, like you get Lyme disease now.
They may not know though until, because I've been exposed to mold for 25 years, every place I've lived.
Mm-hmm.
And my symptoms just started getting worse and worse. It started with migraines
Mhm.
and the joint stuff.
Mhm.
But so maybe in the 4 years that we're specifically talking about the school, they won't know, but it could.
But you're a mold sensitive person, so it's
Right.
going to
Right, that's what I was-
accelerate.
That's
Yeah.
I think what she was asking, how will they know?
Oh, you'll react kind of like this gentleman's. You will react within 6 to 8 months if you're a fresh case. You know, your tank is not already somewhat full.
Did you hit on cross contamination? What can happen, like with gym bags going in and out?
Oh,
from the house
no.
I know.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, we have one of these better airs in our office because my colleague, Dr. Hollis, is a mold sensitive person. I'm not. I'm a tank. I don't have any of this stuff. I think y'all are fascinating. So we have one in the hallway where it's right in front of our air return, and she has one in her office. So cross-contamination, she starts reacting if someone comes from a moldy house with a coat on that's been in a closet. She starts melting down, can't think, can't process. So we have some of these in our office for her, you know, because gym bags, clothes, you know, I have a really nasty case right now of a divorce case where the kids go into the moldy home of the dad. He doesn't admit that it's there, comes back, the kids melt down, the mom tries to detox them. They have to go back and forth. It's a nightmare. And, you know, he's not doing any of this because he doesn't believe it's an issue. So, yeah, you know, stuff that moves from a moldy house into a clean space can recontaminate the space. Moving from a moldy house to a new house, this happens all the time. My house is brand new, there's no mold, it's been tested. Well, did you bring your stuff? So your couch and your mattress and all your documents and your photographs? Now your house is fine, but you recontaminated that space, you know, with all the molds that you were trying to run away from. So that's
Or that you need to go to.
yeah, but that's the beauty of the spray. That's, you know, the enzyme is that it treats all your stuff. So you don't, you know, even if you are moving, a lot of times I'll have people just say, just bring your stuff to the new house and spray it there because you're never sure about the new house, you know, or spray your storage locker, or, you know, you have to address the stuff. Yeah, and that little spritzer thing, you know, makes some sense. You can spritz the things that are coming in and out.
You can also install a UVB light in your central air.
Yeah, but the kids can't do that.
Mm.
No, you
Thinking
have
about
to
the
get
kids You know, maybe you all need to get together and require that all kids have a spritzer. And they go into cake spraying this fall. and they
Spritz the place.
I mean, until you can get it solved.
Okay, the other thing that is a trick, not to cut you off, is to get kids to do this is impossible. I just want to throw this out. Woody nose nasal air filters. Okay, they go up in your nose, and if you are hypersensitive, you kind of want to pick your nose because there's something in your nose. But a lot of people can get away with them. Okay, and you can't really see them unless you have an uppy nose. But they go up in. You see a little plastic connector. But like if you're going to go to some friend's house and you know you're going to get exposed, that would be something that you can use. In the short term, they filter out 1 micron and above, and mold spores are 5 microns. Red blood cell is 7. That's how small they are. So that's an option to send your kids to school with these things up their nose versus, a non-rebreather 5 micron cartridge, mask. But maybe that's what you guys should do in the fall, is all the kids show up with masks walking into school. That would be awesome. That's a show of force.
That would draw a lot of attention.
Yeah, we could invite WSLS and WDBJ. All right.
And they'll be saying, oh, they're doing drugs.
I know.
With woody things in their nose. They're sniffing coke.
There are plastic Coke, yeah. Okay, any other questions?
I have one question. Say you have a child that spent 3.5, 4 years at K-Spring High School and had a number of these symptoms, goes to college and gets away from that environment. Would you expect those symptoms to decrease, or has the damage been done and they're going to still?
It depends on their genetics and their detoxification abilities, and colleges are not safe. Okay, dorm rooms, terrible. College rooms, terrible. Sorority and fraternity houses, terrible. So these kids are going to get nailed all the way through their scholastic experience, most likely, because those are some of the worst, environments that they find themselves in. Rental homes that, go to students, they're not kept up well, and who knows what students do, one group to the next. To answer your question, yes, if people have good detoxification pathways open and draining, over time, not exposed, they will get rid of it eventually. But if they get re-exposed, then we kind of start over. Yeah. Spritzer. Spritz the world. Yeah. Wood sticks. All right. Are we good? We're good.
Thank you, Dr.
You're welcome.